Hi Sharon, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Sharon, I wanted to talk to you today. I wanted to ask you some questions, and I wanted to hear what you have to say about relationship, and in particular, relationship with somebody from your past, not necessarily your spouse, and not necessarily a sibling or family member. It would be an acquaintance, somebody that was very difficult to deal with in your life. Could you talk to me about that?
Sure.
Okay. So start telling me a little bit about it, and I will have a series of questions for you.
So I can honestly say that throughout my life, I didn't really have any person that I had to deal with. Bullying, as you, John, in school, yes, that happened. Um, but I had a girlfriend that always stuck up for me, and she always managed to ward off anything that could possibly harm me. She was my best friend. Um, the person that I had the most difficult in my life was my father. Uh, my father, being the man that he was, um, somehow thought that I didn't need any attention from him. He chose not to be a part of my life. We lived under the same roof, but we never talked. My mother and father barely ever talked. They stayed married for all of their life, but when it came to me, my mom and I were really good. But my dad, he chose to go to the Legion, and he spent all of his time at the Legion. Just things that happened. I could ask him a question, he might answer with a yes or a no. That would be it. He was very difficult in ever thinking that I could have a relationship with him. I knew from very, very early that I could not have a relationship with this man. I was with him when he died. I sat there with him, and he never acknowledged me. He knew I was in the room, but he never acknowledged me. And basically I expected that. So not having that father figure in my life, I feel that was a bigger influence later in my life when I realized that I missed it. And I've been looking probably for it all of my life. And that being maybe in my male relationships with my first husband, Russ, and now John, my second husband. I think that possibly understanding that of myself and where that comes from, I can go back and say, yes, this person who wouldn't speak with me was the one that was the biggest influence and the hardest for me to deal with.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I know that's not easy to talk about. I certainly can't relate to that, nor would I even try to relate to that. However, that being said, is that I can understand what you're talking about. I do have some questions for you, and the first question would be, I mean, I know that you were a very, 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 very young person to be able to try to comprehend that. Do you feel at a young age you tried to comprehend it, or was that just normal for you?
I knew at a very young age that it wasn't normal. I saw my friends with their fathers, and I saw relationship. I saw concern that their fathers had for them, and they would sit and they would laugh and they would joke and have a good relationship. I saw that, and I knew that that wasn't happening for me. So I didn't understand why, I really didn't, but I knew at a very young age that something was missing.
So do you feel at a young age that there was someone there that tried to compensate?
I had an uncle that basically he would come down. There was 7 years difference in our age, and he would come down and he would take me places, like the exhibition. He took me to a museum. He took me to a pancake house, which was awesome. These things were done by him on a weekend when he would come down. He turned out to be a principal of a school, which is great. He ended up with 3 boys, 3 sons, and as soon as that happened, strangely enough, as soon as he became married and had his children, which is great, he stepped away from me. And I understood that, you know, he had his family and everything,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, it felt to me like another man stepping away from me.
Right. So now moving forward, as you got older, and I'm sure you took time to think about these things, what were some of your takeaways from that?
Takeaways from that?
Yeah. Like,
I think
did any of this help you? I know it didn't. I know in some ways it didn't help you, but in other ways, do you think that there were ways that actually did help you?
well, in the way that sort of is that I had to look after myself. I didn't have that male bond. So I grew up that way. I continued on that way, looking after myself, and then got into a relationship, of course, and I became a stronger person for it. I didn't expect anything from anybody, because why would I? Why would I ever expect? I wouldn't know how to expect anything from anybody at that particular time. So yeah, that's.
So do you have any advice for anybody who would experience that same thing in life?
It depends on the person. I was very shy. I didn't say anything. I kept my mouth shut. I had situations where I knew it was wrong. I knew just by feeling that this was wrong. For instance, being left in a car by myself for 2 hours or more. I'm not really sure. I was about 8 years old when my mother and father both went with their friends into a pub, I guess you would call it, and they were drinking beer and liquor and partying as such, and left me in the car. I never felt scared. I never felt that I was in harm's way. I just knew that it was wrong. So in a very early young years, I kind of had a really good understanding of what it should be and what it wasn't, and what I could do about it. I didn't know. I never knew what I could do about it.
Well, that's quite a tale. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. I know it's not easy for you to share that, but I'm sure you've had to tell it a few times over the years, and I certainly appreciate you've turned into an absolutely wonderful young woman. And again, thank you very much, and hope to see you soon.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.